Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, former Rabbitohs captain, Darren Brownie Brown. I've got Big Les from the Big Les Rugby League podcast. What's doing, boys?
Nothing much, mate. Nothing much. What about you, Brownie?
Yeah, all good, boys. All good. Ready for another Team List Tuesday and some exciting news for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. There's been a big inclusion today, chaps, in our team list.
They don't come bigger than that, Les. Captain Cam Murray. He's back in town, baby. He's been named on the bench there. Bit of an unfamiliar role, but I don't care where Cam is. Cam's a massive inclusion to any team, anytime, anywhere in the world. And he's back in the Cardinal Myrtle to play the Broncos this Friday night. They're at Acor Stadium.
Fantastic, and it's great to see him back. You know, the skipper coming back into the team. It's going to be interesting to see his role. Obviously, himself and Tallis Duncan, both on the bench, both play very similar roles in this side. I'm excited to see where Cam Murray comes back into the team, whether it be middle or edge.
And does he start, or does he start from the bench, chaps? Let the sting get taken out of the game. They're a big pack, the Broncos. Do you let them just go into the battle first and then bring Cam on after about 15, 20?
They might ease him in, yeah. Just bring him in. The thing about having Cam and Tallis Duncan in, it gets your ruck speed up. And that's something we were certainly lacking in the first 8, 10, 12 rounds. We were off the speed a little bit when it came to just to play the ball and all that sort of stuff. And two small forwards who will work their backside off for their teammates, it can only be a big end to have two blokes like that in the team.
Well, you blokes have seen Cam Murray train since he's come back into the outfit there. How's he looking?
He looks good.
Yeah, well, he's been just going through the process, hasn't he? I wasn't down there today, chaps. You were, and we'll get your thoughts on it in just a moment. But, yeah, he's been ticking all the boxes. Last week he was doing a lot of stuff off the ground, a little bit of fitness. Today he probably did some contact. I'd assume he would have done some contact over the last couple of days. But, yeah, chaps, how did he look at training today?
He looked good, yeah. Obviously, a hip flexor injury. There was a lot of stuff getting off on the ground, getting off the ground, burpee type of stuff. Almost your flags in the beach flag sort of stuff where you're going down, getting up and going to a full sprint. And he had no problem in the world. He looks as fit and as sharp as I've seen him in a long, long time.
And
to be honest, he looks outstanding.
Over the last week, chaps, in tough conditions as well. On rain, it's been a lot of rain down here in Sydney over the last week. So to be doing all that work in the wet weather, it's only going to benefit him come Saturday night.
Look, if you're walking around the streets tomorrow and everyone's smiling, you know why. Cam Murray's back, baby, and that's all we have to worry about. If you see a few smiles around at East Gardens there and a few places, mate.
I said Saturday night, Friday night. Sorry about that little mistake.
Yeah, Friday night. It's on for young and old out there at Acor Stadium. But speaking of sponsors, Acor Stadium, they're not our sponsor, but we've got Site Pizza, boys. We've got a competition coming up. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, we certainly have. We mentioned it on our last show. It will be a guest supplier competition. Be run through our Instagram page. Site Pizza, a very good supporter of ours. They've got 3 stores around the area, one at Little Bay, Maroubra, and a new venue at the Matraville Hotel. So if you venture down there to the Matto, make sure you pop in and check out the new bistro, Site Pizza. But, yeah, it's going to be a great competition. Terms and conditions will be on our Instagram page. And, yeah, guest supplier, which Big Les has done, outstanding.
Yeah, look, I made it a bit easy for you guys this week, hopefully. So it shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Make it nice and easy for the first one.
Well, they're pretty educated, the Rabbitohs Radio podcast listeners, and they are mad about South Sydney and all the players. They'll probably pick this one out, I reckon, but it is pretty tough. Les can be pretty evil when he's picking these competitions. He makes them pretty tough. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, be sure to jump on, have a bit of fun, and it'll be a weekly $100 voucher to be used at any of them 3 locations that we just mentioned. But, yeah, terms and conditions apply.
You got your Saturday night covered then. You win the competition. Saturday night, pizza and a few bottles of Coca-Cola around your joint. Happy days.
Down at the Matraville Hotel too. That's right close to me. That's going to be perfect. I might guess this one myself, boys. Open up the burner account.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, beer and pizza down at the Great Meadow Hotel. Just having a look back at that team, boys. Liver's out. Little chat to him down there at training. Looks like it's a calf injury. He's out for a couple of weeks. He's had a history of calf injuries. Going to be a big loss, Liver. And hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully it's only a couple of weeks, as opposed to the Achilles, which they're reporting on Fox, which was incorrect there. The other one is Tano Milne. Just had some cramp. I think he came off early he'll be fine. So I said, don't worry about him. He'll be fine. He's pretty tough, old Tone Milne.
And just by the vision, Cody, like when he scored that last try, chaps, there was a little bit of a concern.
It's cramp as well. I asked
Okay.
about Codes. Codes is pretty sweet. He didn't miss a session today. He hasn't been training on Mondays lately, but he was training out there today on Tuesday morning, so he looks like he's okay.
Fantastic.
He will take his place. Now, we might have a look at some of those matchups, mate. Looking at the centre pairing, you've obviously got stars like Selwyn Cobbo, Origin star, former Origin player, Katoni Staggs, up against, look, some veteran centres, you'd call them. They've been around a long time. They're wily veterans. The last 2 games they've started, South Sydney have flogged the opposition when they're in the centres. We beat the Warriors, as I spoke about on the last show. And obviously, they've gone up there and done a real good job on the Titans. So that should be a pretty key matchup, I think.
And I think the onus is going to be on defence. Not so much attack this week. We saw a lot of attacking flair from South Sydney last week. I think the real onus is going to be on the edge of defence. I think a lot more traffic is going to be, at least at the start of the game, going through the middle, trying to get through that middle battle, which we'll talk about in a second as well. But yeah, look, I mean, Richie Kenner, Tane Milne, really tough defensive players. I think Tane Milne especially is known to make a big moment, have a big hit in a game. I think this is that game where you really need to make a statement, and I'm hoping that they do that.
And they'll need to be because they're both attacking weapons, aren't they? The Brisbane Broncos pair and Selwyn Cobbo and Katoni Staggs. Selwyn, a very big body, coming off a big State of Origin campaign.
Skillful for a big man.
Very skillful chaps. But the one thing they haven't got is Reece Walsh to help him out a little bit. So they lose a little bit of their attacking prowess with Reece Walsh, and also no Adam Reynolds as well. So, I'm sure our boys
they're
will be
the
up
big
for
two,
it.
mate. They're probably the best players they got. You take Adam Reynolds out and Reece Walsh, and I'm not saying that we should be favourites, but it certainly squares things up, and our big boys are in good form, as we spoke about yesterday.
We did talk about the defence on the edges, but I think that Tristan Saylor is a guy that not to sleep on. He's been outstanding every time he's come in for that Brisbane side. He has a lot of flair. He's very similar to a Reece Walsh in terms of his impact. So don't expect too much to change in terms of the flair at the back and roaming. I think that you still got to pay a lot of attention on Tristan Saylor in defence.
And he's an exciting player.
And Jock Madden's actually not a bad foil for Adam Reynolds. He's actually got a really good kicking game, sneaky good kicking game. Developed it over the last couple of years. He's had his opportunities here and there in Origin periods, depending on what team he's been at. But yeah, he's he's no Adam Reynolds. There's not too many of them blokes who can pull out of your edges, but he's pretty bloody close. Let's have a look at the battle down the middle of the field, Brownie.
Oh, outstanding. Big Payne Haas, probably the form front rower of the competition. Plays big minutes and runs for big meters, and he's one player that we've got to stop.
And sometimes his second spell can be better than his first, and that's where he can pull a game apart. You think you're going well, you're handling him down the middle. They take him off for 15. He comes out after half time and he blows you out of the park. So you got to be on your game the whole 80 minutes.
Very excited, to see David Moali. He's had a big past few weeks. This is the real test, going up against Origin quality front rowers. Corey Jensen as well, looking to be close to a Queensland debut, depending on how he plays over the next 2 weeks. It's a massive test for David Moali, for Kepi as well. Keon through the middle. I mean, Keon's only been in the middle for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Now going up against a lock forward like Paddy Carrigan, who's probably one of the game's best 13s. I'm very excited for this matchup, and it's a big test for the boys in the middle.
He tests you out everywhere, that Paddy Carrigan. He just comes all day. He's high energy, high work rate. Doesn't matter whether you've got the ball or the opposition's got it. He's one you have to look out for constantly during a game.
He's a big body too, isn't he? He's probably about 6'2", and plays big minutes as well. So that's probably their strengths, especially with them 2 attacking players that we just mentioned being out for a number of weeks. In terms of Walsh and Renault, they'll probably try and go through the middle.
Just wrapping up ball 2, stopping second phase, because Brisbane can do some great work in second phase football. We've seen that from Saylor, from Cobbo as well, taking runs through the middle and, roaming around the ruck, trying to get opportunities there with offloads from their back rollers. So really trying to stop second phase is going to be imperative, wrapping up that ball in defence.
Well, this is a team that started the season as just about second favourites to Penrith. So, look, they are probably haven't been in their best form at the moment, but that doesn't mean they can't flick the switch on and turn it on if you give them opportunities. If you can continue to knock the ball on inside your own half, mate, it's going to be a long evening out there at Acorn Stadium. But the way we've started the last couple of outings, I think we're going to give them a bloody good shake down there.
Yeah, we've been really good in that area, haven't we, chaps? And we've mentioned it on the show before, our ball control, been up around 80% the last couple of games. No surprise that we've got 2 wins while we've done that.
Yeah.
And it's important that we do it again this week because we're coming up against a much better opposition in the Brisbane Broncos than the last 2 weeks. And, yeah, we're certainly got to be on our game again.
Yeah, completion rate's going to be a big thing in this matchup, a massive thing, especially when you've got a Brisbane side who has the potential to complete up around 90%, even with some of these big outs. I am looking for South Sydney to have a really high completion rate in this game, holding onto that ball.
Yeah, Cody to play that real dominant number 7 role, build on what he did last week, where he just took command of the game, kicked to the corners. Latrell chiming in with his kicks. He had a couple of nice little spiral bombs. You know, I mean, let's go back to Matty Burton's one the other day, yesterday afternoon. That was horrendous.
Outstanding, wasn't it?
That was frightening.
That brought rain.
That
Even though we've had a lot of rain.
That might be one of the sweetest ones he's ever kicked, that one.
Yeah.
Poor old Gutho, he won't sleep for a month.
I like Cody's running game last week. I know we mentioned it on the review. I thought he was really good in terms of his running game, and that's what we need from our number 7, especially this week. Cody to run the ball first and pass second.
I think Cookie as well at a dummy half. I mean, we saw a little bit of a running game from him against the Titans. I think that he needs to get a dummy half a little bit more. When you've got a more just settled Hooker and Billy Walters, I think having that difference there with Damien Cook getting out, especially around tired forwards once, Paddy Carrigan, Payne Haas, Corey Jensen's, these sort of guys have been on for around 30 to 40 minutes. Getting him out of dummy half and getting him tiring out those forwards through the middle is going to be big. I think that he needs to have a real impact at a dummy half.
Well, speaking about enjoying your football, Damien Cook's enjoying his football. It's been a year where we basically played him everywhere in the back line, just about. He's played lock forward as well.
State of Origin centre.
State of Origin centre. He finished the game in the centres the other day. He's played everywhere, and it just looks like he's having fun.
Yeah.
Because he's not sitting out there playing 80 minutes every single week at the hooker position. It's a variety is the spice of life, and he's out there enjoying himself in the role that he's played. Just looking at those extended benches, obviously the name pops up, Josiah Karapani, who we had for a couple of years there. We pinched him off the Warriors out of their SG Ball side a few years back. He's a big meters man. He makes a lot of tackle breaks. Defensively can get a little bit caught out, but look, he could be someone that comes into calculations with. There's been a few injuries at the Broncos. Corey Oates didn't complete training today.
Okay.
He was injured, went off with a knee injury. Someone like Josiah Karapani could come in and look. You see those revenge games, don't you? Every now and again, you might come in and try and get one back on the Rabbitohs who sacked him last year for disciplinary reasons leading into the semi-finals.
Well, that's going to be big for them if Corey Oates is out of this game, but Brisbane coming out of their own end after kicks. I mean, if our kick pressure's on, we could really trap them in their own end and really get the momentum going to start sets, especially if we have the first set of the game and kick them into their own end. Defensively, if we're on, it's going to be a lot harder for Brisbane to get into this game and to get the momentum as well.
Speaking of the revenge games, chaps, it only happened to us a couple of weeks ago, didn't it, with Braden Burns when he went up to the Cowboys. So look for Josiah Karapani if he does get an opportunity. It's always good when you play your former club, and he's been really good, Josiah Karapani, in the games and the opportunities that he's had for the Broncos.
Yep.
He's come up and played extremely well. So, yeah, there's no surprise that he's on the extended bench and ready for another opportunity if there is an injury.
And I want to give a rap to Benny Hornby.
Yep.
He's come in. Look, we're going to wipe him for the Penrith game. He only had 1 or 2 days to prepare for that one. But if you take them ones out, previous to that, we were averaging 35 points a game. Since Ben Hornby's come in against the Dragons, 28 points. Against the Cowboys, 28 points in Magic Round. 26 against the Eels and 12 last week. So you can see some improvement there defensively.
Yep.
And generally, when you see improvement defensively, the attack starts to come. And what happened last week? We bunged on 40-odd points. So well done to Ben Hornby, mate. Not getting a lot of headlines in the mainstream media. Fantastic, mate. I'm proud of you, mate. You're doing a great job at the Bunnies.
Well, I think it was our effort and our scramble in defence, chaps. We did mention that there was a high missed tackle ratio against all the players. There was a lot of missed tackles, but it was a scramble and the effort to make the tackle after the missed tackle, and that's what it's all about. It's not. Don't worry about the missed tackle count. It's about the effort after the missed tackle.
But we sort of spoke about pre-recording or in our practice recording about managing individuals, and I think he's come in and done that really well. it's so good to see him having so much success there with South Sydney, and especially when we saw headlines around JD and all the stuff that happened with him. For Ben Hornaby to come in and have a positive impact on the way that we're playing, it's so good to see.
Well, you when you think about a coach, their job is to come in and get the best out of you, or the best out of the individual, or the best out of the team. Well, I can just look around and see that the team results I just spoke about. Look, what about individuals like Sean Kepi, who couldn't
Mm.
nail down a spot?
Yep.
Sean Kepi's been outstanding
Mm.
defensively. He's certainly growing in confidence. I like what he's done with them. Keon Kalamatangi has improved out of sight
Mm.
since he's taken over. So he's got to take a lot of credit for that. Peter Mamazoulis is a real confident young man.
Mm.
He knows he's part of the team now. He's not having to fight and scratch and jump in the reserve grade anymore.
Talking about turnarounds, David Mawali went from 10 minutes off the bench to starting and playing 50 odd minutes in a
There you
game
go.
and killing it.
Mm. And we said David Marley's probably his last 2 weeks are the best 2 weeks that he's had in the red and green jumper, and
Mm.
he's been outstanding. And the man you mentioned before, chaps, Keon Kalamatangi, he's getting back to the form that he had, that which he earned himself a New South Wales jumper last year. So, yeah, keep up the good work, boys. We're right behind you.
Yep. And then we might go into the pathways there. Might kick into the pathways there. Brought to you by the juniors. Obviously, got the juniors Kingsford, juniors Maroubra, and juniors Malabar. Get down there. They've got great venues if you want to have a wedding or parties, or unfortunately a funeral. There's got some great venues there, plus restaurants down there at the juniors.
And we've got a big event there on Saturday, a big spa event. It's a big old boys event. We're honouring the 2014 Premiership winning team. Now, it's been 10 years since they won that game, and it's going to be a great day. I think there's 14 out of the 17 players attending. Madge Maguire, the coach, is going to be there. The current squad, we're playing on Friday, so the event is on Saturday. It's going to be a great event down there. It's a sellout down there at the juniors, and it's going to be a great day.
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, Sato was around today getting some autographs and stuff off the players, and maybe they're going to raffle the current 2024 jerseys off and a few things like that. So
Well,
there's
some
going to be
great
some.
auction items.
And who's doing the auctions, Brownie?
Yeah, your one and only here, the great auctioneer, Darren Brown.
Don't scratch your nose. You'll end up paying
I'll take your bid.
$3,000 for a jumper. Nah, but there's some great auction items. I remember I bought one last year, Brownie.
Yeah,
The Indigenous celebration last year. Well, some of our great Indigenous players got them up in my up on the second story there, just below the helicopter pad. Every now and again, it comes off the wall when we start the chopper up, but. Yeah, no, that's going to be a great day. And look, it's 2014. They've heard our stories many times over the years since we started this podcast, mate. Tell us a bit about your
Yeah.
2014 story, mate. Being a South fan your whole life.
I was 9 years old at that stage as well. I had stopped playing footy for a little bit. Just wasn't that interested in playing. But it was definitely a keen watcher. And just growing up around that side, Adam Reynolds, GI as well, who was massive around that time. Burgess playing with the broken eye socket. You just got so many individuals in that side who went on to have outstanding careers, and so inspirational for a guy like me as well, that when I did start playing footy again, those are the sort of guys I was looking up to. I mean, Sato as well. Big inspiration of mine. Met him a few times as well. Absolute legend of a bloke. It was a great memory as well. Being so young, looking back on that, it's unreal. Looking back at that
it was
success.
a great day, wasn't it? Both chaps and I were there to witness it live, and I'm glad we did. I can die a happy man now, seeing the Rabbitohs win a premiership, but I'd like to see them win another one.
We'll get another 5 in the next 10 years. You heard it here first on Rabbitohs Radio podcast. Anyway, the New South Wales Cup team is playing at Redfern on Saturday, playing the Raiders. Not a lot of changes there out of that outfit. I think Leon Tahau's the only one that comes out. Lenny Skelton comes in on the Billy Sting. He had a good game, Leon. I think he saved a try. They actually awarded it, but it wasn't a try. The referee was out of position. They don't do the video ref in that grade. And he come across with a great cover tackle on someone too later in the game. So sorry to hear that, Leon. I hope you bounce back, whatever the injury happens to be. We'll find out a bit more about that one. Get that one back to you.
Young Dion's been named at 6 to play, so he'll probably be 18th man.
He was good in the beaten side on the weekend. I think we're down 34 blot. We could not get out of our own end. I think we had one play the ball in the opposition 20 in that first half. A couple of unlucky things went against us, including that no try that they awarded. Second half, I think we're beaten 2 tries to 1. But guys like Hayes, Perriman, they're too good for that grade. He's played a lot of first grade.
Yeah.
They just blew us off the park in the first half. It was about 30.
Drew Hutchinson,
What was the score
he
at half
just
time?
carved us up.
34 nil.
34 blot,
Yeah,
and
half time.
the boys come on, and I thought Leon LeBlanc was strong in the second half.
Yeah.
Defensively, some nice contact there for a little man. He plays well above his weight and won't be too far away from a call-up. When you talk about origin call-ups and suspensions and injuries, look, he won't be far away, young Liam LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously with what you've spoken about as well, and just watching a few of his highlights here and there as well. Great player, very strong in contact. I can't wait to see if he gets an opportunity.
Yeah, well, he won't, like you said, chaps, he won't be too far away, Liam. It's only probably would have got his opportunity this week. It's just that Cam is returning from injury. And look, we don't know just yet, but they might decide to give Cam one more week and Leon might make his opportunity.
Well, Liam's going up
debut.
against Liam's going up against a pretty decent pack for Canberra at the moment. Obviously, a few guys that have been going quite well. We talked about it, on the drive over here. Puru and obviously Holler have been going quite well in Cup at the moment. So big test for Liam LeBlanc, and we'll see if he can handle it.
Yeah, they're a strong side, the Raiders. Don't worry about that. They're not going to be no easy beats, that's for sure. We're still probably trying to get some more of that more first grade talent back, and hopefully with the likes of Cam and Jai Gray coming back over the next few weeks, we start to bolster those lower grade teams, and it's a flow-on effect down to Chris Tippy O'Connell's team, the Jersey Flag, who played the Doggies out there at Belmore last Friday night, 16-14 with about 20 to go, and just got blown out a little bit there at the end, but the boys are trying their guts out there. Looks like there's a couple of changes. Manny Di Bartolo jumps back in his preferred position at fullback, and Hazen Mellors gets to take another step. He's still on a bit of a minutes count. You can only play that 40 or 50 minutes, then got to get him off. So hopefully he can get the full designation soon, boys, and start putting together some 80-minute performances.
They got a few of the big body forwards returning too, chaps. Big Noah Reid and Toby Sullivan, they both returned who never played last week.
Yep.
Noah Reid, interesting positional change. He's going to play on an edge this week, or he's been named to play on an edge. He's normally a middle forward. They're going to give him an opportunity on the edge, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes there.
Yeah, Brendan Taliski, big contributor to Rabbitohs Radio podcast, not only on the podcast, but obviously with these former players write-up that he does every week.
They're great articles.
He's a big rap on Noah, and he knows the family really well. So I'm really rooting for Noah in that lower grade team. Now, you've had a bit of a relationship with Chris Tippy O'Connor, mate.
So he taught me PE in the HSC when I roll it right in the end, but had a bit of work to do on me just quietly. Played under him as well for A grade for Marsland. We won a comp under him as well. One for the A's and the B's, which was good. Played in both of those games. So, 2 comps one night. Don't get to say that very often. But, Tippy, unreal man manager. And, as a teacher as well, it's just such a good bloke. And, had a bit of a relationship after high school as well. Came and beat you a few while I was on there as well. So, just such a great bloke and just a champion. I know you've had him on the podcast as well.
Yeah, we certainly have. If you haven't listened to that episode, make sure you head back to our Spotify account and search that one up. It's a great insight to the pathway system in 2024. And he mentions a lot of the players that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. He's actually a guest of ours on our table this coming Saturday at the Spa event. So, Tibby, well done, mate, and good luck on Sunday down in Canberra against the Raiders.
He's a great bloke. I'm looking forward to catching up with him on Saturday afternoon, him and his missus, and having a couple of beers and listening to some great Rabbitohs stories. But, boys, that might be about it. We got anything else?
Nothing else.
Just a big thank you to all our sponsors, which will be around somewhere. Daryl Lee's up the back there.
They're looking pretty empty. Are these your ones? But they're pretty empty. I think he's been putting a few away, as they have been.
We might
put away at the Chapel household and the Stewart household as well, I think. But
we might throw a box in to the first couple of winners of the guest supplier competition. So there you go. We'll throw a box of Daryl Lee chocolates in with the $100 voucher.
Well, that'll help me out. I'm on the diet trying to stay away from them. So if you guys get them, that'll be all the better for me.
Yeah, for sure. And that's about it from Brown, Chapel and Stewart. And that's about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Up the Rabbitohs.
Up the Rabbitohs. All right.